What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/am I the Butthole. And if you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it hugely helps out our channel, and I cannot express that enough. And we do have some members and rejoins. I'm not quite sure how the rejoin system works on YouTube, so you have to forgive me if you're just a reoccurring member, because YouTube tells me all sorts of different things these days. But we had Jody is not okay join us, Amalia, Misha Mayhem with a rejoin, Sam C-Star, and Jack Attack MG. Thank you so much for your support. You know I love you for it. And just for everyone for taking the time out of your day to be here means the absolute world. Thank you so much for doing you. And let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Sammy Sam XXX. Am I the arsehole for using the money I saved to get my stepson a prosthetic leg instead of contributing towards my brother's wedding? I, male 33, have a younger brother, male 25, who's the family's golden child. Once he was born, he had 3 parents, mum, dad, and me. I was required to drop everything, any time to look after him. I shared 65% of his care in the first few years of his life. Then as he grew older, my parents expected me to provide for him financially. He fell sick and I ended up paying for his medical expenses, driving him places, going to the doctors, follow-ups with him. I did all of that while all my other social relationships fell apart. No more friends calling nor seeing me. I had trouble committing to a serious relationship because I didn't give it my all. Once I met my fiance, I kept my distance and focused on her and my stepson. My mum called to ask why I was no longer doing X things for my brother. They made comments that my fiance stole me to get me to raise her son. He's 13, uses crutches because his left leg is amputated. We do everything together. I love him so much and I can't wait to adopt him, and my fiance is happy with it. I only visit family on big occasions since my aunt is kind and treats my fiance well. My brother is getting married on March, and I heard the family was putting money together to pay for the wedding. My dad called me to ask me to contribute with $15,000, which was a lot. I have other responsibilities. I'm a dad now and need to focus on my son's needs. After talking, I agreed to pay $10,000. Then my aunt called me to let me know no one else paid a dime, and it was just me who contributed, and it was a lie from my parents to get me back on track because my brother is and should always be my priority. I went to talk to them, then I blew up after mum started talking about how my fiance was clearly using me to provide for her son. I argued with her, told her I won't be contributing anything towards the wedding and will use the money to get my stepson a prosthetic leg since he is my priority now. My fiance couldn't believe I told her. They were shocked, and my uncle berated me for doing this and called me nuts because my fiance isn't even married to me yet, so she and her son weren't yet family. I argued with them, then I left. I noticed more relatives started berating me, saying I ruined it for my brother. He'll resent me and I was being selfish and stupid to do that. They asked me to take my rose-colored glasses off and realize that family remains, but relationships like that, meaning fiance, that are based on greed don't last, and I'll admit they were right. I don't regret what I've done for my brother. He needed me and I have always been supportive of him. But this wedding isn't really for him, but for my parents' image and trying to show it off to everyone. I'm sure my brother prefers a simple celebration, but they control everything. No, it's not a cultural thing, but more about looking good to outsiders. I know I wasn't clear about why my family thinks my fiance was with me because of money. It's because of my appearance. I have a burn scar that covers the side of my face and goes down my neck because of a car accident I had 3 years ago. It doesn't bother me. I feel confident enough to socialize and it's never been an issue. But my family keeps bringing it up like they're shocked my fiance isn't bothered by that. I wanted to mention this, but I hesitated because I wasn't sure what people are going to think. I'm sorry. And what a completely toxic family dynamic OP has been going through sounds for the majority of his life. Absolutely crazy that they're actually trying to scam their own son to pay for another son. $15,000 they wanted. That's an insane amount of money. And then they're using the good old family bullshit argument, and it's absolutely crazy that they expect you to consider them family, a family that's trying to scam you. Yeah, amazing. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. But Tinkerific says not the arsehole. They wanted you to pay for your brother's wedding. Oh hell no, there's nowhere on planet Earth where that's required. Your brother pays, his fiancé pays, and they should work with your parents and future father-in-law and mother-in-law to see what they can contribute. No one else in the family should be expected to help, let alone be the sole source of funding. I honestly think you should go no contact with your family. These people are just going to keep using you. And Hot Audience says, not the arsehole, they are using you, manipulating you and ruining your shot of having a happy life. You should go no contact. I almost never ever recommend going no contact with family, but yours is very toxic and preventing you from having normal relationships and building your own life. Your fiancé and your stepson are your priority, and frankly, paying for a wedding and a prosthetic leg so the boy can have an ordinary life doesn't compare. And I'm Stealing the Towel says, not the arsehole, and quotes, I blew up after mum started talking about how my fiancé was clearly using me to provide for her son. And then says, but it's okay for her to use you to provide for her son. Your family are a bunch of hypocrites and you'll be better off telling them to all pound sand. There it is, I love that expression. And Leota says, not the arsehole. It is not your responsibility to provide a wedding for your brother. I would say your parents have already milked you dry as far as he's concerned. Feel free to go no contact with people who only see you as a vehicle for funding their own responsibilities. And Pudge the Fish says, not the arsehole. Child needs a leg is more important than anyone wanting a wedding. I would say even if the child was a stranger, paying for his leg over a wedding is a good choice. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and what would you do in it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for excluding my wife from my daughter's birthday because she always makes it about herself? Okay, so throwaway. Yesterday my daughter turned 19. However, she didn't really like her birthdays for one reason. From her 10th birthday onward, my wife would always somehow make my daughter's birthday parties about her. Examples would be, on her 11th birthday, we went bowling, but my wife took most of the turns, and I had to argue with her to let our daughter play. When I took her out to a restaurant on her 13th birthday, she ordered a crap load for herself. Not sure if this counts. She even went and purposely bought gifts that she liked and knew my daughter would hate, and when Lacey, that's what I call my daughter, pointed out that she doesn't like it, she'd go, oh okay, I guess I'll have it. When she was 14, she stopped having birthday parties, and for her last birthdays just hanged out with her friends or watched a movie with me and my brother. But even that wasn't enough, as my wife, I'll just call her Alice now, would constantly butt in, complain that there's no food, moan that she doesn't like the film that we are watching, or throw a fit when Lacey refused to do anything with her or celebrate. Because of this, she doesn't want to celebrate her birthday anymore. The list goes on. This year, I'd asked her if she wanted to celebrate, and she muttered, not if mum is there. She then quickly realised what she said and then apologised. I told her not to be sorry and that we can celebrate without her. For the first time in a while, she actually gleamed at the idea of celebrating her birthday. So later that evening, we went out to a restaurant, did some shopping, went to my brother's and watched a movie. It was fun. When we got back, I found Alice curled up in a ball on the sofa crying. I told Lacey to go to her room because I had a suspecting feeling that this would get ugly. When I asked Alice what was wrong, she started screaming at me, asking me how I could exclude her from her daughter's birthday, and that this is when her baby finally became an adult. She became an adult at 18. What the fuck? At this point, I decided to lay it out flat, that Lacey's attitude to birthdays was bitter as fuck because of the way Alice always made Lacey's day about her. It's almost as if she considers Lacey's birthday to be her second birthday. Alice then became teary-eyed and asked me if I was telling her that she was a bad mother. I just turned away and said, maybe you should answer that yourself. She then got really upset and left. She's currently staying at her sister's. Since then, she's tried to get people to gang up on me. Sister-in-law is chill and we laughed at the whole situation. My sister harassed me and said I'm a dick, but her husband shut that down. Mother-in-law bombed my phone with messages about how I'm a shit husband and that I stripped her of being able to bond with her child. I feel like I wasn't wrong and that Alice needed to smell the reality, but I do feel kind of guilty. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? ETA, I did confront her each time about it, but she always just brushed it off in the end. I guess that only affected her now because we didn't include her. Now, I am going to say this is not the arsehole situation. I was almost tempted. I was sat there thinking, oh, could I say it that everyone sucks here? Because, you know, this has gone on for way too long and this should have been called out sooner. But I will just go for a not the arsehole for now, just to keep it simple for now. Because this is clearly manipulative behavior that the wife is showing here, that she wants everything to be about herself and, like, buying presents that she knows the daughter won't want so she can get them. Ugh, man. We've seen that a couple of times on this channel and it makes me cringe just thinking about it. But the bit that really got me, or it choked me up a little bit actually, where it said she actually gleamed at the idea of celebrating her birthday, and you think, geez, so a child hasn't been excited about celebrating their birthday for a while, and you're just thinking, oh my god, really? So absolutely not the arsehole in the situation, but iDrow says, not the arsehole, but you should have called out a behaviour a long time ago. Narcissists believe that they're the only ones that matter and that the behaviour only gets more solidified in them when they go unchallenged. Tell your wife that she can throw all the tantrums she wants, but it's not going to change the fact that she has treated her daughter terribly at all of her birthdays, and you can tell your mother-in-law to stay out of your marriage because it's none of her business. You can say the same to anyone else who feels that they have the right to give you grief about this. And hey demons, it's me, yeah, says, not the arsehole, your wife is being manipulative. You told her you do this bad thing every year so our daughter hates her birthday, and instead of saying something like, oh my god, is that true? Have I really been doing that? I feel horrible. She immediately jumps to, so I'm a bad mum then. Classic deflection. Your daughter deserves her birthday to be about her and what she wants, especially when she was a child. I feel very sorry for her that she couldn't enjoy her birthday for so many years. If you hadn't confronted your wife frequently about this, I'd say everyone sucks here, but you say you have, so definitely not the arsehole. I'm sure your daughter appreciated you offering to celebrate without her mother this year. And Dying says, not the arsehole, my mother used to do this to me, and until I put my foot down as an adult and stopped doing anything for her birthday or including her in mine, she kept going with it. She's doing more damage to your daughter than anything else, and if she has a complex about it, she needs therapy. And Substantial says, not the arsehole, but why didn't you sit her down years ago and ask her calmly why she seems to hunger for the spotlight on her daughter's birthday? It kind of sounds like Alice and her mum might be a lot alike. And Opie replied, argued with her each time after each time. I guess it's only hit her hard this time because we didn't include her. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What would you do in this situation? If you found out your child was feeling like this, how would you feel? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Rhonda Sucks. Am I the arsehole for not letting a student leave school at dismissal? I'm not a teacher, I'm a secretary at high school. I manage students' attendance, notes, parents' calls, etc. As a high school secretary, I know about every student. I'm good at staying on top of them, however there's a senior girl who's been stubborn and has no problem saying no to anyone, which is surprising to me considering how quiet and polite she always has been for the past years. In January, we had to have our students take a test called STAR testing, not to be mistaken with STAAR testing, containing reading and math. It should only take an hour to complete. All students have an hour study hall period, plus the lunch period. There is no excuse for them not to do it. The school district receives funding for these, so it is very important we have these in for the winter. Us staff have been tracking down students who haven't done the test. This girl didn't do the test, along with several other students, especially the online ones. A teacher of hers told us, me and the principals, that the girl said she will do the test. A week later from then, we told all the students that they have 1 week left to do the tests, but not enough students did them in order for us to submit the data for eligibility for the funds. So 2 weeks later from that point, earlier this past week, the girl came into school and she was walking into the building. I told her she needed to do the STAR testing. She was walking but looked back at me and gave me a nod. Later that day she was about to leave the building, but I was still in the main entrance and I stopped her at the doorway and told her she still needed to do the test. She stopped and turned around and said, "I'm not doing the tests." I was shocked and told her she had to do them. She said that they don't have any impact on her grades or graduation and that they're a waste of time on her schoolwork and that the state needs to find a different way for schools to receive funds. We never told the students that the testing was how we received eligibility for funding. Teachers are supposed to tell the students that the tests are to mark where they are in their learning. We strictly do not tell them about the funding. While this information was true, I told her the tests mark where she as a student is in her learning process, and I don't know how she came to that conclusion. One of the assistant principals overheard us talking and asked the girl who made her think we got funds from student tests. And she said one of the teachers included the funding as a reason to do the tests, and that she already knew about the funding for testing since elementary school, and that she's never done any of the tests unless it's SATs. She tried to leave, but we held her back because we wanted to find out who told her this information. She got mad and said she's not saying, and that she's 18 and can leave if she wants to, and that we can't hold her past dismissal time. She ran away from the school, so we had to call her parent. Her parent said that her daughter has her permission to not participate in the test, and that she was furious that we kept her past dismissal for 20 minutes trying to get her to do the test. She claims to have a big workload of assignments this year, and that she's very busy and that she has to do work in the evening. So the study hall and her lunch period are the only hours of working on her assignments, and that the only reason she did the test in the fall was because she didn't want to argue with her pregnant teacher, because they got along and didn't want to put stress on her by resisting. My school has a bad reputation due to numerous incidents a few years back. We need our numbers to go up. Last year, the students didn't give us top numbers, and the principal was very disappointed in the morning announcements over the intercom. So these tests are also important for good reports on our school as well as funding. The problem is, students are allowed to opt out of these tests, but we don't make it public, given that most kids won't question adults who say it's required and that they just do as they're told. Our school is going back full time next week, so we'll be seeing a lot more of this girl. And the comments say it better than I could ever express it on this one. So Pretty Little Toy says, yes, you're the arsehole. She is completely right. You have no right to hold her against her will, especially since you have no idea if she can get home or anything if she's held back. Kids should not be forced to use their breaks for schoolwork, especially if it has no impact on their actual grades or ability to graduate. Wow, I can't believe you tried to call her mother too. She is legally an adult. An Amazing Stacks J says, you're the arsehole. You tried to hold an 18-year-old against her will to try and force her to do a test for funding when her parents opted her out of taking the test. What the hell is wrong with you? And Sraydank says, you're the arsehole. As a staff member, you should know better than to block a door to stop a student from leaving, unless the student is attacking another student. You should never stop a student from leaving the building. It is unfortunate that funding comes from these tests, but that's not the student's fault. You can't force them to take the test. In fact, many states allow students and parents to officially opt out of testing. She should have found out that funding comes from state tests anywhere. It's not exactly a secret. It's all over the news every year when they review scores in my state. You are very lucky the parent here didn't do more. Honestly, if this was my child, I'd be complaining to the school board. You and the admin overstepped big time. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? I know we have a few teachers in the comments, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next post comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for telling my girlfriend that she needs to respect my authority when it comes to her kid? I realise this probably makes me sound like an arsehole, but here it goes. Throwaway. I'm 25 female and my girlfriend is 22 female. We've been dating for 6 months. She has 3 kids. I love these kids to death. I moved in almost immediately after we started dating, but I have also been friends with her for years and have known her kids from the moment they were born, so it wasn't weird or anything. I've always been an active part of her kids' lives. I watch the kids while she works and I do the evening shift after she gets home. Well, we took a little mini vacay over the past weekend and went to visit my mum and sister. My girlfriend had her online classes that day and she was in the back bedroom doing that and I was watching the kids. Well, her 3-year-old is going through a phase. He is super disrespectful, which is probably because of his age more than anything. So he was flicking his cut up hot dogs across the kitchen and I told him to stop. He started screaming no. I was calm. I tried not to raise my voice, however, he picked up his fork and chucked it across the room, which hit the fridge and bounced back, smacking the dog. The dog didn't seem fazed, but that's not the point. Given that my mum has a bunch of knickknacks, I couldn't stick him in the corner, so I brought him out to the car instead. I buckled him in his car seat and told him he was staying there until we left. Obviously, it was an open-ended threat to get him to stop. I wouldn't actually keep him there. I walked inside. The car is literally right beside the front door, so I was watching him from the front door. Well, my girlfriend comes barreling out of the room, losing her shit on me. She walks outside and I follow her. She starts taking him out of the car while screaming at me because it's cold out. The car was still warm. I tell her she is losing her shit over nothing and attempt to take him back, while telling her I'm sorry for overreacting. She says, "Nope, don't touch my kid, you've done enough." This is a smack in the face because I've done nothing but help her and call these kids mine. Their dad isn't present, so I said, "You seriously need to respect my fucking authority when it comes to these kids. I'm so tired of you being okay with me doing everything except for discipline." She says, "I respect your authority until you disrespect my requests. He has fucking autism. Do you not understand that he requires different disciplining? How many times do I tell you he will only listen if you get down on his level and speak to him like he's an actual fucking person?" I respond with, "Really? Because it hasn't fucking worked yet. Stop using autism as an excuse for letting him get his damn way all the time." She goes inside and packs up her other kids and then leaves me there. Am I the arsehole? And we will start with most disaster on this one, saying you've been together for 6 months. You have no damn authority. Second, why do you think it's okay to lock a kid in a car? It doesn't matter if the car was right outside, it's literal child neglect, and if someone saw you do that, they'd probably call the cops. Again, you have no authority over someone else's kid. And Michael says, "You're the arsehole. This is wrong on so many levels, it's unbelievable. 1. You're not the parent and you can't do heavy discipline. It's one thing to say no or put him in timeout in the corner. You've only been dating 6 months. 2. You can't tie up a kid in a car. 3. You can't leave the kid in a cold car. 4. You definitely can't deal that way with an autistic child." A tech support victim says, "You're the arsehole for putting him in the car. I don't care how warm you think it was cold outside. You just don't put that kid in the car and walk back inside. And you don't seem to understand how to work with a child with autism, because it sounds like she tried to tell you how to handle him and you just refuse to do it. Even you're going through a phase, and his age sounds like you don't get it. She and her kids are better off without you." And Vort for Naught says, "You're the arsehole. Firstly, you have no automatic authority with these kids. You are not their parent. You get as much authority as their parent chooses to give you. Your partner should have rules for her children, and you, as an adult, should have enough authority to implement those rules when their parent is not there to do so, but they have to charge you with that authority. Secondly, your punishment would be ridiculous for any child, but it really sounds like you don't know how to handle a neurotypical child. Or at least your partner thinks so, and I'm inclined to trust her on this. Finally, you recognise that you overreacted and quotes, telling her I'm sorry for overreacting, and then says, "But you still expect her to respect your fucking overreaction." Hell no. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And if you want to support the channel further, you absolutely can by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. It hugely helps out on our channel, and I'm very, very thankful to each and every one of you. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.